Mindset Podcast. We're your guide as you make your way through life, getting better 1% every day. We believe that life is lived and true victory won through adversity. Nothing easy is ever worth it. We believe in the warrior ethos and support those that choose to walk that path.
Now, if I was really fancy, I would have like a little graphic or something.
Ooh.
Like the logo or something. You know?
That's next week.
Yeah, well, I'll get there.
Yeah.
I'm just happy
It's gotten so fancy in here.
No,
Y'all should see the studio set up. I guess they can, but these
eventually.
are like so nice.
All right.
Hi, Gene.
What's happening?
Happy Friday.
Thanks
it's
for
Friday.
Is it?
It's Friday.
Depending on when you listen
true.
to this, it could be a Tuesday.
It could be.
It's all right. So I found this post about gaslighting.
Oh, it goes further than that, though.
Are you okay with this?
I'm fine with it. I mean, fine with what exactly?
Oh, I don't know.
The self-gaslighting?
Yeah.
I feel like we're in this like perpetual. No, you go first.
No, I don't have anything to say.
You have anything to
I was
say?
going to say,
Okay.
we can get into the actual post. I think there's some quality here.
Yeah.
But first we have to get through the title.
The title of this
Which could be 40 minutes.
The gaslighting. Okay. I think.
Yeah. What's your take on?
As a society, we are so in need to label everything, good or bad, black or white. Every feeling needs to have some type of disclaimer, reasoning behind. I feel like it's like this. It's in my head. All I can see is like like a spiral. We're just like we keep circling in within itself to like find the hidden chalice of what is the movie he's going to find, like
the Holy
cup,
Grail.
The Holy Grail.
See, the Indiana Jones or Monty Python.
Indiana Jones. I was thinking that was like my favorite. One of my favorite movies.
It's the best one.
It really is the best movie. I actually teach people split jerks, walking through when he was like skipping you have to split your feet fast. The floor is coming out from underneath
I remember that.
Anyway, a little gym analogy for you. Anyway, back to self-gaslighting. It's like we're like spiraling.
It's like the Holy Grail.
Holy Grail. We're trying to find like an answer to everything. And you know what? There's a lot of things in life you're never going to have the answers to.
Very true.
Now, I will say there's some good nuggets in here, but that was my first take. I was like, really? We need to label that too?
It is very what's the word? Clickbaity.
Very clickbait.
I think the term gaslighting is
being an asshole.
So you don't like it.
I don't like it.
You don't like
I don't like self-gaslighting. Like to me, this is
like anything.
This is like low self-esteem, in my opinion. Like, can we just call it what it is? Like, knowing, not appreciating your needs.
Yeah, I think maybe
how I read this.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to create
a
new name for something that already exists.
Again, it's like, do we need to label everything?
We don't need a new term.
Right.
It probably already has a term, like you said.
And now people are going around being like, I'm just self-gaslighting myself. I self-gaslight myself. Like
I'm a self-gaslighter.
You're gaslighting me because I self-gaslight myself because you gaslit me.
I need to look it up. Where do we even call it gaslighting?
I don't know.
Gaslighting.
You mean like when someone does it to you?
Yeah.
Well,
I know what the term is.
This is my inclination, is that when a person uses something against you to flame more about your insecurities. So they understand your weaknesses and use that against you, is how I understand the term.
The term gaslighting derives from the title of the 1944 film Gaslight, in which a husband uses trickery to convince his wife that she is mentally unwell. Mm-hmm. See if we can get that on the screen here.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that like manipulation. They they use certain tactics to make you feel like you're crazy.
She's mentally unwell, so he can steal from her. It refers to the illumination of the house, which seems to waver whenever the wife is alone at home. Okay, whatever. That's a little bit weird.
Have you had people question your?
Yeah. I don't really know. It feels like it, right? There are times where, yeah, I'm thinking hard about this. How do I describe it? It's more like I know I'm right,
Mm-hmm.
and the person is like trying 2 or 3 different ways to convince me I'm not right
Mm-hmm.
by providing like evidence or whatever, but the evidence is not
Yeah.
quite evidence. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, they're like coming at you from different angles.
Yeah, and it's like,
trying to
well,
like penetrate your
and you're like,
sanity.
it still doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like not listen, but
Yeah.
like and then you stop and you start thinking like, well, maybe I am wrong. You're like,
Mhm.
wait, no, I'm not wrong.
Mhm.
Been doing this for 20 years. Like, I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
This is how it always is.
Yeah.
This is how things work. And you're like, wait,
And
what?
I do think that if you do lack self-esteem,
Then you
that
fall into the trap of questioning
of
yourself.
self-gaslighting. That vicious cycle. You're gaslighting yourself because you yourself have been gaslit.
Gaslight.
Gaslighted.
That-
I don't know.
All right.
Gaslitten.
So I think the point here, are we done?
Podcast over.
No, I mean like
Oh, about that, yeah.
about the term. Yeah,
Yeah.
the term gaslighting. Yeah, I don't like that. It does feel like a pretty trendy term
Mm-hmm.
that I wonder what kind of kicked it off as being like a trend, but it seems very trendy.
Well, I like self-help in itself is kind of like
Narcissism is another one
Oh,
that's kind of on the
gosh.
same level. Sorry.
I see so many
Interrupted
like
you.
reels and stuff. They must know I'm like dating because all I see is like
Narcissist.
5 signs that the person you're dating is a narcissist, and I watch it. I'm like, what are you?
You're like, shit, I'm a narcissist.
I'm a narcissist.
Well,
Oh, shit.
narcissism is like, it's a deep psychological
Mhm.
like problem. Like,
I think we throw that out there a lot.
yeah, it's like you're not really,
Um,
you're just self-centered. There's a big difference
Right.
between being like,
Like it's
Selfish
an actual,
and kinda
like,
jerky.
mental like
yeah,
disorder in
yeah,
a way
yeah, yes,
compared to just being
Yes.
sometimes an asshole.
yeah, where you like go out of your way to sabotage other people, like
Right.
in real life,
hmm
not in a,
And
we're not talking about paying for dinner.
and what's
Like,
right,
That's
right, yeah.
it's not on the same level.
That's definitely another term that gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, let's get into this one. I don't know how many, did they say there was a number? Oh no. Okay. So I like some of these though. And I did want to talk about some of these things because I've done this. I've had people tell me I do it too much. Blaming yourself for not handling things better. Right.
mhm.
It goes on without acknowledging all the difficulties, challenges you're facing,
Yeah.
and the strength it takes to survive. Whatever. But blaming yourself for not handling things. So you get out of an argument, altercation, or maybe something at work or whatever.
hmm
You're like, shit,
Could have done that better.
I could have done things better. And I get stuck in that loop of like playing it over and over and over,
Yeah.
where I'm like, next time I'm going to say it. But it's like,
Mhm.
really, I don't think we should be in another situation like that. But if I am, I'm going to say things better. But, I don't know.
Mhm.
What about you?
That's happened before, and then I tend to overthink it like you,
Mhm.
and then I realize like I agonize over it, and then I find out I get on like the next call or whatever, and no one has even
Yeah.
discussed it. And
Yeah,
I was
right.
like, wait a second, what?
Uh-huh.
See, to me that was like a red flag. Like I
Right.
did something wrong. Like I
Right.
should have done it better. And then it turns out it wasn't an issue at all.
Yeah, no one cares.
No one cares. I think also, handling things better, that's fine to like acknowledge that about yourself. It's always important to learn, but you always have to accept where you are in your life too and what skills you have. So maybe you haven't learned a skill yet in order to handle that better.
True.
But you're never at the end of that.
Right, right.
You're never going to handle every situation perfectly. We're human.
So giving yourself a little grace, maybe.
Yeah. But you can't be like, screw it. that's just who I am.
Right.
Which you could be.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you
You have
can
to be humble
always-
enough to like realize that maybe
Yeah.
you didn't handle it better.
Right.
You just can't get stuck on it.
Right.
So in terms of gaslighting yourself,
It's called self-improvement. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
Like,
know. I don't
unless
know
you
if-
like, unless you like, go in the fetal position over, you forgot to like include someone on the email. I don't know. Like, it seems kind of like you just learn like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I should have done that better. Unless it like blew up a relationship or something, or blew up a project terribly. You may need to really think about something.
Well, I mean, we were talking about boundaries before
Mm-hmm.
through a text you sent me, and this could be one of those things where it's like about
Mm.
controlling those boundaries.
Yeah.
We had an incident, not an incident, but we had a thing here where like one of the local papers or whatever came in and did a story, and they just went around and took pictures, and some of the people got mad because they didn't get releases
Mm-hmm.
to be in the pictures.
Yeah.
And then, somebody I know was like, kind of, crap, I got to deal with this situation that I created or whatever. And it's like, well, it's the paper's fault. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't absorb the blame, like shift it where it needs to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
That seems like a boundary of like worrying about maybe
Mhm.
I should have done that better or whatever, and accepting that blame. Maybe that's
That's a good point too. Because sometimes I know for me at work, like for a long time, I took all the responsibility.
right.
And that
Well-
comes along with the territory of my role.
Mhm.
But now, thankfully, I have like a team where I'm like, nope, that's your responsibility.
Yeah.
Take care of it.
Yeah.
And you can kind of hold people's feet to the fire a little bit. And I think just ownership in general, maybe on a decline, a big decline that I've seen, especially in my work life. Definitely politically,
Yeah.
just like responsibility, self-responsibility.
Yeah. 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 Well, I mean, ownership's
So-
a huge thing. Like Jocko's going to tell,
Mhm.
whole extreme
Extreme
ownership
ownership,
thing. Good
yeah.
leaders are going to own those things,
Yep.
but there's a line between owning the responsibility and taking blame
Yes.
for things that aren't even your team's fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I think maybe that's some leadership too, which is like, it's not
Mhm.
me, I'm not sucking, it's not you. This
Mhm.
outside force has caused this thing, so we should all
Mhm.
focus on that.
Yeah. And what I've learned on how to handle things better is that I can't do everything, but what I can do is use my upward management skills to make other people do what I need them to do. But using my boss to be
Mhm.
like, hey, by the way, I'm going to be doing this.
Right.
Can you please back me up?
Right.
You gotta it's kind of manipulative a little bit, saying it out loud, but it's kind of how you have to get stuff done in big corporations. You gotta have to,
Yeah.
in order to handle things better, I have to work the system a little bit. That's my job, though.
I just listened to a 3-hour podcast with Jocko and Cam Haynes where he was talking about manipulation
Really?
in the sense of being a leader. And he was saying, true, there's not very much difference between manipulation and leadership. Like, manipulation is getting people to do things for your personal benefit, whereas leadership is getting people to do things for you for the good of the mission or the product.
I have leadership skills.
Yes, it's very different. It's a very
Yeah,
different thing.
That makes me feel a little better because sometimes I think we didn't have a term for it. Now we do, Gene. Oh,
Self-gaslighting.
self-gaslighting.
All right. Criticizing yourself for being too sensitive or emotional
Mm.
without checking in on what your feelings are, the place they come from, and the validity of them. I don't really know what the two things are. Dichotomy here, but
I can't speak personally for me self-gaslighting. I've definitely been gaslit for this though. I've had people say, you're being too, like guys I've dated, like, you're being too sensitive. I'm like, you're being too emotional. I was like, but let me explain. Like, this is like
Right.
this happened, this happened, this happened. So I have to like validate that, which I shouldn't really have to.
no, you shouldn't.
But
Do you think that's like a thing that guys do?
it's happened to me several times. Yeah.
Like, give me a scenario.
So
Because now I'm scared I've done this.
I highly doubt you have, Gene.
Don't give me that much credit.
But like, say I've been dating someone and they go dark for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? Like, we did it for like 7 months.
Right.
You're dark. Like,
Right.
you're being too sensitive. You're being too sensitive. You're being too emotional about it. I was like, I'm just asking you what happened.
Got you.
So it's like, I'm just like laying out the facts.
Right.
It's not like you didn't look at me a certain way. You know, this is like,
Mm-hmm.
you went dark for 2 days. Like, I don't know if you're dead. Like,
Right.
what is going on?
Right.
And then I was blamed for having a reaction to that,
Mm.
which is gaslighting. That actually
Absolutely
is legitly
is.
gaslighting.
Yeah.
That happened a lot with
Yeah.
this person.
Yeah. That's using that as a
Correct.
shield or a weapon.
Right.
To,
Instead of being like owning it and being like,
right.
oh,
This is what I did versus.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a
Mm.
recent example.
Yeah. So this one's all about doing that to yourself.
See, I don't do it to this.
I don't either.
I don't think I do.
I can see that though. I can see someone with a history of being sensitive and emotional and trying to work on themselves, sort of continuing to beat themselves up over creating the same, like, I used to be this way. I used to flip out about stuff and I've been working on it and I've been pretty good for a while. And then I flipped out about something. Now I'm going to beat myself up for two days because I shouldn't have done that. I'm going to be depressed over it.
Now
and I've seen
this before.
I've seen that. Yeah.
We've seen this before, Gene, with
yeah.
How about Heather dating?
And I'm kind of guilty of that myself.
You bounce back though.
I'm a little resilient, but
this one person we could say like they would go into a whole
spiral for months,
for like a half a year gone.
Weeks. Yeah.
No, it
would be a while.
It'd be off the rails. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were self-gaslighting.
For sure.
We just didn't know.
For sure.
Heaven forbid we miss this Instagram post.
Shaming yourself for being too needy without acknowledging that you have needs that are likely unmet, and it is this that drives the behavior you're shaming yourself for.
Yeah.
Whatever. But shaming yourself for being too needy.
I have done that.
We just described someone else doing it to you.
That is what well. So,
but if it happens enough,
so they did that. So because he did that to me consistently,
right? You begin to believe it,
and I was like, well, maybe I'm asking too much. Maybe I need to be more like, and I'm like, no, that's not how I want my relationship to be.
Yeah.
So I would have to be like, Heather, no. And then maybe that's fine for someone else.
Yeah.
Not me though. So I had to be okay with walking away from that because it wasn't what I needed. I wasn't getting what I needed.
What tools did you use to sort of reality check yourself?
I was sick of being upset about it. Like,
you just eventually saw it for what it was.
Yeah, I saw it for what it was. Yeah. I'm like, okay, well, and I have really great friends and a great therapist. And I was like, listen, like, this is kind of what's happening. I feel like I'm very valid in my point. And then like, well, you can feel however you want to feel. If that's not what you want out of something, then you got to let it go.
Yeah, it's not you.
Yeah. Like you can't fix that, Heather.
Right.
You can't fix him. You can't fix the situation. You got to just.
Yeah.
So.
I feel you.
Yeah.
And you can't wallow in that self-deprecating area too long. Yeah, that's a tough one, especially when it comes to relationships.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a balance, kind of.
Do you see this in the business world, in your job?
Being too needy?
Other like employees to the employer?
Oh,
or vice versa?
Yes. So in my industry, so I work in insurance tech, and it's very fast paced and very self-driven. Mm-hmm. And we've had a lot. I think I tell you like every other week. Oh, someone got fired. Mm-hmm. Someone quit. Yeah. It's very high turnover. And what I see is I can pick up on the hints like very early with someone. I'm like, ooh, they need too much. They're too needy.
Gotcha.
I'm like, you gotta like just dig in there and try to figure it out.
Right.
But they become very needy, and their boss will be like, hey, you gotta just start asking questions, but don't just sit there and be like, well, you didn't teach me.
Right.
and blame it on someone
Right.
else,
Right.
right? For you not taking initiative.
Yeah.
So I've definitely seen that.
That's not good.
And then they'll blame it on other people. So they're gaslighting the company. I'm like, no, you need to step up.
Right.
Like, try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Come to me with like we're teaching at the iron yard. You're teaching how you're trying to learn a different code. You Google it first.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah.
You try
I
to do
got
your
you.
own research.
Mm.
You try a few things, and then you go to the instructor and be like, okay, I have tried this, this,
Right.
this.
Yes.
It didn't work.
I've actually done work.
This is my theory.
Yeah.
Because it's all theory at that point, right?
Right.
The
Right.
issue.
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong? And they're sort of like, look at you trying.
Yeah.
Great job. Now let me show you.
Yeah.
But sometimes you look with a blank screen and they're like, I don't know. I'm like,
You aren't even.
you haven't even tried.
Yeah.
So don't be needy with me.
Yeah,
if You
yeah.
haven't even tried.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Don't show up on the day it's due and ask for an extension on that paper.
yes,
It's not
the
how that
blank
works.
page. You're like,
Yeah,
that's
it's not how that works.
no.
Yeah.
At least pretend.
Yeah. Lie to me.
Yeah, lie to me.
Justifying another's toxic behavior by taking responsibility for it yourself.
Oh my gosh.
They didn't mean it. I know they love me. I just have to not, whatever, and this won't happen again.
Yep.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've been told that before.
That could get very dark quick.
Oh yes.
But let's keep it. Let's not go super dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have again, it's not like self-gaslighting, but I have been told this a lot and mostly like interpersonal relationships, like things will get better when this happens. Things will change if this happens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. Like
Yeah.
no.
Right. Yeah.
What are you thinking?
My brain's going in several directions.
I know.
But I want to make sure we stay in the crux of this one first, which is like absorbing the social responsibility for someone else.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a person. It can be an organization.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a political party.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, it could be a lot of things. Because I think about this. I think about, used to have a business partner that like would just stay up all night and would not show up to work until like 3 or 4.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And could never make meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like constantly apologizing and
Yeah.
like, this is how, brilliant developers are. And, they're just whatever. And then I've worked with people who were like super talented artists. And they're like temperamental and they're kind of shitty behavior attitudes. And you're just like, well, that's how, brilliant creatives are. And, whatever. And that's not even a friendship role. That's a professional role, and I'm sort of the representative at the moment. And I'm absorbing this responsibility personally. And that takes a toll on you after a while. After a while, you're like, fuck that guy.
Right.
I'm not working with him anymore.
Right.
He's fired,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you let it go too long. But,
Mm-hmm.
to your point, relationship wise,
Yeah.
can happen too,
Yeah. Work wise, I've had that. I actually talked to someone about this. We're talking about engineers. Because you run into it's the same type of personality a lot of times.
Right.
And I blame the companies for pacifying these people to an extreme point. As you know, engineers, like high end developers, they get whatever they want.
Right.
They have like a silver spoon. They can go wherever they want, job hop, make a ton of money. But there's a certain personality within corporations. Everywhere I've gone, same type of like personality I found is that an example, the engineer I worked with, very high end engineer. We had a desk, maybe like three desks down, so I could like literally just lean back and see him.
Mm.
And so I'd schedule a meeting with him with other people in a conference room.
It's like, I can't make it.
Well, no, I would go in the conference room and sit, and everyone else would come in. They're like, "Well,
he's right there.
Where's Cliff?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Right.
Because I scheduled a meeting, and he's like, "Well, you're gonna go get him." So I did that for like the first 3 months I worked there. I would walk to his desk and be like, "Hey,"
because you're trying to do a good job.
I'm trying to do a good job. I walk in like, "Hey, we're in the conference room. Can you?" He's like, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, just remind me next time too." I'm like, We're professionals.
Yeah, you
You
should
manage. I don't manage your
Yeah,
calendar. I'm
yeah.
not your secretary.
bring your A game, brother.
Bring your A game.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
for a while, it would take his not showing up as my responsibility.
Right.
Because people are like, well, I'm like, well, I'm gonna wait here for 10 minutes and I'm gonna reschedule the meeting. So I did that. I had enough.
Mm.
I did that. I went back to my desk, sat down. He's like, I thought we were having the meeting. I'm like, you didn't show up.
Yeah, you
I
bailed.
rescheduled it for next week. He's like, ooh, got all mad. I was like,
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, what do you want me
I
to
am
do?
not going to.
I'm not your mom.
I am not your mother.
Yeah, I'm not your
I'm not taking your
babysitter.
responsibility for your lack of professionalism.
Right.
So that's an example.
Yeah. That's how that should be handled.
I got in trouble for that.
Really? Well, that's
Yes.
it's a toxic
It's
working
a
environment.
toxic work
if
environment.
That's the case.
And that's just one of the many
They're
things.
valuing that role over other roles.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I imagine that happens a lot. Can you imagine what it's like
Oh,
being a surgeon, like working like a hospital, like
oh my gosh.
like a brain surgeon, the way they like treat that person versus like, the person that cleans the linens or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you're garbage and that
You're
guy's a genius.
Right.
I mean,
right.
I'm just, look, if you're out there and you're a
Hey.
brain surgeon and you're offended, I'm sorry.
You know? Yeah.
If you're a brain surgeon, why the hell are you listening to this podcast? You should be way smarter than that.
You should be having your own podcast.
I'm gaslighting brain surgeons.
Gaslighting yourself for the lack of importance of this podcast, Gene.
Criticizing yourself for not getting over that traumatic incident already.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone takes time, different amounts of time to get over things.
Yeah.
Is my thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's everything. Again, maybe that's why it's in quotes, but I also try to say there's no such thing as getting over something. I'm using air quotes.
They can see you.
Oh, getting. I forgot the camera's on. Been picking my nose the whole time. Just kidding.
Well, unless you're listening to this.
Yeah, unless you're listening. But there's no such thing as getting over anything. You go through it.
Yeah.
And you may learn from it,
Yeah.
but there's no like proverbial end.
Right. There's no
to the
magic.
story, right?
Like end.
So that's my first issue with this whole bullet point. And then it just takes time to work through it. Get yourself a therapist.
Mm.
work through whatever.
Oh, I
it
thought you were
is.
talking to me directly.
Oh, maybe
I'm just kidding.
you should. I'm kidding.
I
I'm
have
kidding.
one.
I do too.
Um,
But it's okay. Like everyone operates differently. Takes a different amount of time.
yeah. Have you ever had anybody tell you about something that you're talking to them? They're like, just get over it already.
Mm-hmm.
Have they literally said that?
Mm-hmm. That phrase.
You punch him.
I'm like, okay.
You're like, hold on.
You
a minute.
first.
All right, cool. I'm over it now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
I just did what you told me.
Yeah, I'm done. Like, oh shit, no, really.
I just filed it away.
Yeah.
Push it down deep to never come up again until I don't want it to come up, and then it will.
It always does. That's why I say getting over is a bad phrase to use.
I think some people don't, and as hard as it is to believe or realize, because I mean, first off, man, I don't even know where to start. My brain just went
You have a lot of things you
1,000
gotta
miles
say.
an hour.
Yeah.
We are so comfortable in this country. I mean, we're just people now living in 2022. We're very comfortable. And there are a lot of people that have like real traumatic experiences.
Mhm.
But there are probably more people that haven't, right? Like truly traumatic experience. I would think that someone would tell you, just get over it, has not experienced trauma.
Mhm.
Like they're speaking to you from a position of zero empathy, right?
Mhm.
So you as the person with empathy must realize that is where it's coming from
Mhm.
and take that advice and throw it promptly in
Mhm.
the
At the same time,
imaginary trash can.
someone who has gone through something and they hear someone complaining about something that's
Yeah.
really not,
Yeah. They will do this to themselves.
like, for instance, I've had people, like friends of mine will get like really mad that a nail came off sooner than they wanted to.
Mm.
And they will spend 3 hours on the phone asking for a refund back or something
Ouch.
to that extreme.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? That's how you're going to spend your time?
Yeah, that's kind of rough.
There are other important things in life to
Yeah.
worry about than
A nail?
a nail or whatever the reason.
Oh, sure.
But
Is that literal? Like, did you?
not 3 hours
Oh,
on the phone.
okay.
But
Whew.
yeah, it was more time than you would think
Wow.
for a nail. I'm like, I just go spend $20 and get it done. Like,
I just chew mine off, so I
Or
don't really understand.
chew
I have
it
no
off.
empathy for.
but I guess what I'm saying is like, unless you have something to compare
Mhm.
something to,
Right. Right.
you have no clue.
Zero baseline, so you're going to say dumb shit like,
Right.
just get over it.
Right. Yeah.
But there's a fine line between that and like somebody being stuck on something that maybe isn't really traumatic, and that you
That's what
they
I
need to
mean.
hear like, get over it. Like, you're being a wuss. Like,
Snap out of it.
it's a fine line though.
Or be like, you need to figure out why this is triggering you so bad.
Yeah.
That's
probably
more,
better.
That's more the.
That's probably better advice than get over it.
I think so. Like, why is this still bugging you?
Right. Because
Yeah.
get over it is like, I don't really want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you're bothering me. And
Or
you need to get over it.
It doesn't like acknowledge the fact that there's work to do.
Yeah.
Because by
Yeah.
just saying get over it, like you're just stocking it away,
Yeah.
like you said, pushing it down, not
So
dealing
look
with
at
it.
him and be like, what's your deal?
Yeah. Yeah. So the person with the nail, I'd be like, okay, let's talk about why that bothers you so much.
Yeah,
Is it
what's
because
going on?
I think it's because they have they're type A, perfectionist. So when they do something, they do it 100,000% perfect. So when someone else doesn't do that,
Yeah.
then they
Yeah.
they are themselves upset that the other person, and I'm guilty of that.
Mm.
Expecting other people to do as much, or I used to be like that in the gym. I'm like, these people they don't,
Right.
it is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I try to think about that. But
Mm.
I'm not their therapist either. I don't know. It's just a nail.
But that's an interesting thing. I think it's kind of a tangent from this, but I see that a lot, right? Out in the wild. You see it on social media too, where it's like where do I start? So you see an injustice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it truly is like, that sucks. Like, you're not being fair, or you're treating that person badly, or you're being bad and you're hurting someone, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you respond to it with like
Mm-hmm.
your own sense of like moral justice, and you're in the right. So you use that leverage to be even more mad about it. I mean, have you seen that? Like,
I have, and I agree with you to a certain extent.
where it's like, it's you're legit, but that doesn't give you
Mm-hmm.
like an open prescription to just like destroy everything,
So this is where I disagree a little bit, because
I'll stop recording right now.
Pause it. This is where I disagree, because I think there are situations, it's not always like that, but I have seen that, and I agree with you to a certain degree, where I default is just the way our country should be set up. This is just a societal type thing. We live in the United States, if you don't know. How it should work is that, those elected in office, or those that have positions
Mhm.
in those positions of power, should be doing what is of the best interests of the people that don't have the voices, right?
That's the plan.
That's the plan. That ain't working.
That
so
ain't the
well.
reality.
That ain't the
That's not the reality.
But that's how our country was set up.
Yeah, that's how it was written down.
Right. So I'm saying
Good
that
luck with that.
the reason why I disagree is because the purpose, me having like a political voice, is to speak for those that don't have the political power, will to say something. They're too busy working 3 jobs, trying to feed their kids, like,
Right.
so therefore that's the point of that position,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now, if you use that to your like personal benefit to make yourself look like I think this is where maybe you're going.
That's absolutely where I'm
They're
going.
like they're like a social warrior or something.
Social justice warrior.
Social justice warrior.
SJW.
That's fine if you're. I mean, if you're gonna sit on Facebook and blast people,
Yeah.
then stop.
Right.
Otherwise, like, be an activist, run for office, donate to like
Well,
your
see,
local
yeah.
pantry, or do something
That's
instead of just complaining.
absolutely, that's the difference is
Yeah.
like actually putting in the work.
Do the work.
I think the point when you put in work, I need to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, that's
Yes.
the reality, right? I mean, you know, you're saying these things, you're running for office. Like, yeah, like that's how that works, you know?
Or it doesn't have to be that. It could just be go put bags together of food at Harvest Hope
Right. Do
for
something.
2 hours a month.
Right. You're doing something.
You're doing something. Like,
So then
give back.
Yeah, you sort of build this capital that you can then
Yeah.
expend when it's time to give your opinion.
You also may be like, wow, I've learned a lot by.
Well, that's the benefit. You probably
know,
will learn a lot by,
you're
by
gonna
doing those
see,
things.
you're gonna
Yeah.
open your eyes and see like this is how it really works.
Yeah.
You know, you'll see kind of how things are structured, and therefore I might listen to you, but otherwise shut up. You don't have the clout to just sit on Facebook and
Yeah.
complain.
Let's boil that down to a lower level.
Boil it down.
Like when you're in traffic
Mm.
and somebody cuts you off,
Mm-hmm.
you can't use that to then jump out of your car and go smack them in the face.
Want to sometimes.
But I know, but people try to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen videos on Instagram with people
Yeah.
do that. That, you know,
Mhm.
I think that's, you know, where it's like you're right,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't give you the capital to then go out and like do something, you know?
Man.
But that's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
where do we put, so if we're at the same time we're
Well-
saying the internet is worthless, your
Mhm.
comments on Facebook and stuff don't mean anything. Well, then go ahead and argue. Like,
It's a vacuum.
go ahead. Yeah.
No, but some people just
Then
sit
it's
on
on
there
me
all
to stick my
day.
brain in there and like spend my time in there. It's my fault.
That's the downfall of social media, in my opinion. I mean,
It's the social part.
like
Yeah.
turn off your phones and go do something.
Yeah.
Like it
Agreed. Yeah. Go.
stop.
Mm-hmm.
Go pick up garbage.
Yeah.
That'll make you see a lot, because what you see when you pick up garbage, people eat fast food, they drink a lot.
Yeah.
You know, that's literally what I pick up when I go pick up garbage. Just like, I'm like, wow, we actually have a problem with food and alcohol in this country. It's like, it's all the garbage you find in
Or
Colombia.
the people that throw garbage out of their vehicle at
Well,
least are living that way.
Then we could go into that further. Why
Yeah.
why that? Anyway,
Yeah.
that's a whole other conversation.
The whole thing.
But those people also that sit on social media and rant, like, protect your peace a little bit.
Yeah. No shit.
Like back to the whole jumping out of your car, someone cutting you off. I have switched my internal dialogue from going from F that person, like they did that on purpose to hurt me,
Yeah.
to like, I hope someone's in the passenger seat about to have a baby, because you know,
Well, they're
or
not out to hurt you.
they're not out to hurt
The
you.
world's not out to.
Or
beat
I
you.
say something like, I hope they get where they're going,
Hmm.
and they don't hurt anyone along the
Yeah,
way.
no kidding.
And that's the problem,
Yeah.
because that person probably is not taking. Likely, there is no pregnant woman or person ready to have a baby. They're just driving like assholes.
Well, I'll tell you. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm not like a road rager. My wife would probably say otherwise.
I don't know. I've ridden with you before.
I'm a road complainer. Put it that way. I will complain out loud. I don't honk at people.
I haven't heard you honk, but you're
Not a honker.
you could drive in Chicago. That's for sure.
Okay, I've never driven to Chicago, but when my kids, my oldest and now my youngest has now gotten his learner's permit. When he started driving, like during his permit, and I was teaching him how to drive and stuff, I really like I don't yell as much as I used to, because I realized like that might be somebody's kid like learning how to drive. That might be why they suck. They probably suck because they don't know what they're doing yet. So me providing more, you know, giving them more anxiety is not really helping the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that changed my perspective a little bit.
Yeah.
just putting my kid in that position and then being like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't do that. But
I think about is like they're watching everything you do.
oh, well, we're long past that with these guys.
Yeah, they're screwed. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
no.
my kids, yeah, we've long passed my ability to redirect that ship.
They're great kids.
All right, any parting thoughts on self-gaslighting?
We don't need to label everything.
Yes,
That's it. I just think
Careful.
it can be a vicious internal spiral of having to identify every flicker when life is just hard.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to be sad sometimes.
Well, this post is from Mindful Tom.
That was
I don't know.
oh, yeah.
The little slide here says the Depression Project. So I don't know what that is. So go check those out. See if they're worth a damn. Just wanted to go through that with you and see what you thought.
Thanks for sharing.
Thought it was
I'm gonna follow and see
kind of insightful.
See what's happening.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Until next time. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Gene, for having me.
Bye.
It's been fun.